So, Alicia, without any further delay, welcome to our group and take over the stage.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, ladies. And I enjoyed meeting all of you on virtual. This is where we're going now because of the COVID. So this is also new for me. I'm not a big virtual. I don't like all this technology stuff, but because of what's going on, you've got to jump into it. So as I go, my program for my Wives Are Royal is called Manifesting Your Purpose for Mothers and Wives. And as you know, I was introduced, I am a mother of 6 children. I have a couple college kids, a couple in high school, and my youngest baby is now in junior high. So yes, I am very busy in all that regard. I am also a private tutor as well as part of my business. So to start off, I'll be explaining about how to get clear on your purpose. How to get clear on your purpose. Many of us go through our life thinking we know what it is. Some of us do. Some of us do know what it is, and some of us don't. But I find mostly that it's the thing that's dear to our heart, something that we can do with ease. It may be cooking, painting, something that, you know, just you can do it in your sleep. It may be helping others, something as simple as sewing. You know, there's many things that we have purpose in. Sometimes it could be something like in taxes or business type of industry, stuff like that. Teaching for me, that's another part that I do. That's part of my purpose. So just getting clear on what it is, to know what your purpose is. I know being wives and mothers, we get boggled down in taking care of our family, having to work. Some of us may have to work like a 9 to 5. And so we usually push those thoughts and those skills back into what we have to do to get through our daily life or just our basic living. And so we kind of push off, you know, what it is that we think that will get us through. So my purpose, as I said before, is teaching. That's part of it. I've been teaching for 19 years. And so just a testimony, in that 19 years, about a year and a half ago, I was at my job and all of a sudden, some things happened. And without notice, without them telling me anything about firing me, I just got back to work on a Monday and they just told me I was fired. And like I said, no explanation. There was no 2 weeks before, nothing. It was just, you're fired. And so at that point, I was like shocked, of course, like, okay, what in the world is going on? You know, this is all I know. This is what I do. I could do it in my sleep. So I had to think like, okay, how do I move on from here? And so, you know, I tried to talk to them. They came up, of course, it was not true what they said, but they came up with some lies of it being that I was missing like 1 unit. And like I said, I've been teaching for 19 years. So of course, I'm like, okay, you're going to have to show me proof because I went to school like 25 years ago. I've been teaching for 19 years and I've taught at other schools in the Sacramento area, dealing with early childhood education. So, you know, bottom line to that was that they could not show me any proof. I tried to fight it. I called the district and everything, and they had nothing on my file saying that I missed any units or everything. I was fully qualified. So, and of course, being in Sacramento, they said, you know, jobs are at will. And it wasn't like, I couldn't say it was, you know, because of race or anything like that. So that's pretty much all I can do was just move on. Wasn't nothing much for me to fight. So in that process, summer was just starting. And so I said, well, Lord, what am I going to do? I got college kids I got to pay for, you know, got to pay for your housing, food, and all that stuff. And I'm like trying to figure out what can I do.
For Empower.
And so I kind of relaxed for like 2 weeks, and I'm like, okay, I just have to go into prayer and figure this thing out. I was so mad at the point that I was like, well, of course I can go look for another job. But I was like, I would never have someone have that much authority over me ever again. Like, no, this is it. So I, I kind of woosah a bit, and then I have a couple friends and a couple teachers who were calling, like, Alicia, summer is starting, and so are you going to tutor? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not sure about that. And I said, well, I kind of was thinking and leaning towards that type of business, but, wasn't just quite familiar with it. And I also have like you said, us coaches have coaches. So I do have a friend who's in a business coach, and he had earlier, before I even gotten fired, was telling me, like, Alicia, you can make so much money being a private tutor. And at that time, I wasn't thinking of it. So then I was like, okay, well, when the Lord brought that back to my memory, I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll try it out. So that summer, I decided to do one kid, and it was just so beautiful. It was just so freeing. I was able to just work, do what I do, and then go home. So because of me getting fired, that's what brought forth some of the other gifts that I had laying in me that I was trying to wait for. And so getting clear on, like I said, what you think your purpose is. Our purpose can be something fun, and it also could be something that you can use to bring in a profit and bring in a business to your home. So, and it could be anything. I had people saying, that's not like a real job being a private tutor. And I'm like, oh yeah, it is. Because when you're making like triple times of what the school was paying, oh yes, it's a real job. So, and I find most of what people do, whatever they enjoy doing, I find that they are making double, triple, quadruple of what they were doing in a regular job. So, whatever your purpose is, feel free to move in it. Don't be scared or thinking, oh, it's not worth anything, but truly whatever that brings you happiness, that is, it's going to be worth it. Bringing your vision into fruition. So like I have done, I tried it, I thought of becoming that private tutor. And then I also had been a certified empowerment life coach for a couple of years. And that part of another thing I was putting on a back burner. I'll get into that when my kids get older, because I have more time. And so, because of getting fired, I had to pull that out, pull it out and use that to continue my journey into bringing forth my purpose and my gift. And so I would tell people, bringing forth your vision and into fruition, usually it's really not that hard. You just got to work at it, the time that you can work at it. If you're working a full-time job, it's okay if you work on it part-time. But if it's something that you really want to do, something that's able to bring more income into your household, go ahead and do it. There's many things that you can reach out into. You can Google it. You can find groups like this group or any other group that's out there on social media that can help towards whatever that you feel your purpose into. And you can talk to your friends or family. They might have some insight on helping you to bring in whatever they believe your purpose in, and bringing out your vision. Creating your purpose into profit. So I have spoke about that, creating profit, creating your purpose and bringing it into profit. So my couple things are becoming a private tutor, using my empowerment life coach, and I also have written a book. So those are 3 staples so far that I have ventured in doing to bringing in and creating profit into my household. So I have some friends that even basic things that doing t-shirts, if you're a crafty person, that's another way of bringing in profit into your household. So I'm for whatever you believe your gift is, whatever you believe your purpose is. It could be, helping the homeless, whatever that is, I encourage women to go forth and to go into doing what you believe you are called to do. And within that, some may bring profit to your house and some may not, but whatever or however you want to lead and do it, it's fine. And it's so fulfilling and it's so free. I can't tell you how free I feel just moving into my purpose and what I am called to do. Not to say that I don't miss the classroom. I do miss the classroom a lot. I miss decorating the classroom and talking to parents. But like on a flip note, I said I am now a private tutor, and so I'm able to still work with children, and I'm still able to have that, repertoire, but still teaching. So that's a blessing in regards for me for that. I want to encourage women on building your faith. Whatever it is that your faith is, I encourage you to strengthen it. Whatever you do, whether if you pray, if you meditate, whatever that is, because I feel that will help you in the position as you go into bringing this purpose into fruition and as you just move through your daily life. And it will keep a lot of peace to your mind. With all this COVID going on, I feel that, it's a lot of stress going on for me personally. I have lost now 5 family members. And so dealing with that and dealing with helping my own children going through this virtual learning and their frustrations of, the school cutting off in between classes, not be able to log off, and dealing with my kids, not happy of seeing their friends or being able to visit them. They miss school too. My kids love school, so they miss the sports and the interaction, and so they miss all of that stuff. So staying focused on our prayer life, meditation, or just peaceful things, whatever it takes to keep your peace. I encourage women to, seek in their faith. Also, self-care, and that's hard. I know for me, being a wife and a mother of 6, I usually have to be like, you know what? I'm just going to just shut everything off. I just cut off the phone and be like, hey, let me just take me a bath, lock the door, because I have 5 girls, I have 1 boy and 5 girls, but my girls, they always see when mommy is ready to do some self-care, I'm ready to soak my feet in my foot soaker, all of a sudden they want to come and do the same thing. Like, no, you have your own time. So I encourage women to make sure you get some self-care, do your nails, whatever it is that you love to do to take care of yourself, because it's very much needed. Even if it's once a month, for me, I'm like, my God, I haven't done anything. Even if it's just to sit back and just chill. And I love, what helps me a lot is listening to like inspirational, nature music that, it doesn't have words. It have like nature sounds, water flowing. I'm a big lover of water flowing. It could be, I don't care, I'll turn on my shower, whatever it is, I need to hear water flowing. So whatever it is that can keep your peace, you can do that for yourself, because you don't want to go crazy trying to help everyone else. And then, that's how tempers rise. You may not know that you're like agitated, but then at the wrong moment, you may become agitated at someone else. And that's because you're not taking care of yourself. I encourage women to set goals. It doesn't have to be a whole bunch. I mean, 3 at the most is good to set, and try your best to work at it. So whatever goals you may have, if it's, you want to start your own business, if you want to write a book, if you want to start a nonprofit, simple goals like that. Or maybe, for me, putting my children to work. They're teenagers and young adults. So if it's putting something for them that can help me in the process of what I need to do, that could be something that you could do as far as setting your goals. And also setting a goal for your financial stability. It's always good to have extra money coming through the household. You never know what's going to happen. You never know if someone's going to get sick. You never know if you're going to get fired, like me. You never know, you just never know what's going to happen. Emergency happens all the time. And so you want to be prepared. Another, something I've just started, which is becoming like a children's book, to where I'm a consultant in selling children's books to people. So it's almost like they do a book at school when they usually do the book fair. So it's all something like that, but it's more virtual. It'll be online to where I can sell children's books, and that's going to be an extra income that will come in for me. So that's about it right now that I have for empowering women. I also like to tell people to watch your company. Everyone, a lot of us are going through, but if you can keep people that are strengthened in going through their everyday life, of course, there's times that we all get sad, or, we get a little stressed or not able to do, what we need to do, but reach out for help. And I know sometimes that's hard. I have people that chime into me at all types of the day, that's telling me they're feeling stressed or they're not feeling hope. So I just encourage women to, encourage others. If it's something like, hey, how you doing? Make a phone call. Many of us create empowering things on social media. So that's something good to just empower other women. And then for me, when I post empowering things, it strengthens me to be like, I guess I can still go on and move on in what I'm called to do. So I am done, and I'll have this platform open for anyone who have any questions and anything. And thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for all that really actionable steps and information as far as finding and creating your own purpose, and then carrying that forward, maybe making some income off of it even, and supporting the family in a different way. So thank you also for just sharing what got you there. I think for many people, finding your purpose, that's great. How do I get there, right? You stumbled into it, which I thought, was beautiful. So thank you for sharing that. Any comments, any questions? Anybody want to come off mute and share a little bit?
This is Christina Matcham. I just wanted to say thank you so much. I love to hear these things reiterated. I mean, I practice them, I preach them, I lead and share with other women as well. But it's great to hear it from somebody else, come from someone else, especially the piece of self-care that I think is so important. And, even those baths, like I have my bath, my kids are grown. My child has 4 legs and I have my hubby. And when they know I'm in there, like around 7-ish, and I close the door, don't knock. I'm in there for 20 minutes doing that's my me time. So I just appreciate everything that you said about all of those things, self-care and making sure we take care of ourselves, and, priority setting and all of that. So thank you so much, Alicia.
Awesome. And Christina, you just made me giggle. You said that your child has 4 legs. So yeah, that's awesome.
Yes, even my grand has 4. Grand fur baby has 4 legs too.
I'm in the same boat. Babies with 4 legs. Anybody else want to share? I saw some comments in the chat that this was super helpful. Anybody want to share something further?
I just want to say, Alicia, thank you for speaking to the point also of, being in that world of almost probably, I can only imagine maybe disbelief and feeling just so disheartened, and just probably an overwhelming mix of emotions when you went into your job and found out, okay, you no longer have a job, and there was from what you understood, there was no explanation, no understanding. It was just, okay, you no longer have a job, pack up and go. And at that point, just even comprehending that, I can't imagine like what that must have felt like, just the shock of it maybe. And then to know that, okay, now I have to figure out a new starting point, a new starting place. And sometimes we're pushed into those things, you know, unwillingly, of course. And then we do find, literally, I know this is, you know, such a cliche, but the beauty from the ashes. And sometimes we, you know, when we're able to rise in that, it makes us even stronger. And then we build that empathy to be able to speak to us the way you're speaking to us, because you've been in those situations that you've been able to grow from and say, hey, I want to pay it forward and give some valuable tools and insights. So thank you for being transparent. Thank you for being vulnerable with us in that moment, in sharing that with us. I truly appreciate it. And I definitely value the insight you've given today.
Yeah, I echo what Jennifer says. I think it's when we look back on our lives and we look at the really, really tough moments, that's where our strength and our character is born, right? And we wouldn't necessarily choose that. We wouldn't choose being unexpectedly laid off, yet look what beautiful thing you created out of it, right? And had that not happened, you might not have been led to this amazing joy that you're experiencing now. So it's in that moment being able to appreciate it for what it actually might be, not the pain of what it actually is. I think that's kind of the lesson that we can take from that. It's beautiful.
Well, I think also, hi Alicia, sorry we came in late. One of the things that I also heard is that when we're comfortable, then we say, oh, maybe someday, or that sounds good, but in our brain, we don't really go there and effort for it because we're comfortable. So, you know, sometimes we have to take a look at, am I too comfortable? Are those wonderful thoughts I've been having, maybe I should be pursuing them, and you got to do that.
Thank you so much, Carrie. Yeah, just stepping out of the what if and just making that the reality. Again, maybe not by choice originally, but certainly by choice now, which is, it's awesome. Any other thoughts?
Right, yeah, that's what happened. It wasn't by choice, and like she said, you know, we have some goals that we set in life, and I'm, like I said, okay, when my kids are older, I can focus, because my kids are very active. They do track, volleyball, they're into all the groups and stuff at school, so I was like, yeah, okay, well, I'm trickling down now, so when that time comes, and so, like, you know, that time came, and I was not ready. I'm one of those people that I love what I do. I love working with children. Between the ages of 3 and 5, so pre-K and kindergarten. And I was shocked. I wasn't even worried about being fired. My friends were like, you're not worried? I'm like, no, I was just bawling. I'm gonna miss the kids. And I had 2 weeks before my class is graduating. And I'm like, the parents were like, are you not gonna let her stay? And they were like, no. But when I, you know, it's been a year and a half, so as I've been thinking back on how a year before that happened, I had became a licensed empowerment coach, and then I came out with my book. And so that's another thing we have to watch, is that people get jealous. I never thought that I would experience that level of jealousy from anyone, but it's like, oh my God, it can happen, and it can happen from your bosses. It can happen from friends. So yeah, I really was more shocked at the fact that they did it like that. And then so I got fired. I was like, oh, well, I'll just chill and get some unemployment. And they lied to the unemployment people. So then, of course, you have to wait I've never gotten fired. So I'm like, okay, how do we do the thing? And I have to put in a appeal, wait another month. And I was like, I just couldn't believe what these people were doing, all because of jealousy. And so thank God, you have to do the little hearing, whatever, for the unemployment, and we did that, and they were in there lying up a storm, but I just kept my peace, and at the end of it, they granted me my unemployment, and that was it. I never had anything to do with that school ever again, and I like to keep my blessings, so I'm not sharing what school it was, even though it was a Christian school, but I'm not going to say where and who it is, but it was hurtful. I was very hurt, because I never thought that would ever happen. But it was something to be like, hey, don't wait. Whatever you feel that you need to do, you just got to move and do it, because you never know what's going to happen. But so I'm glad that, you know, it worked out for the good, and I still have relationship with those past students. They're now calling me for tutoring. I'm like, oh, hey, yay. So, yes.
Lemons lemonade, right? Final thoughts or comments?
Hi, can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Alicia. This is really great. You know, I was just thinking when you were talking about, you know, sometimes you don't make the change until maybe there is a need or your brain just doesn't really kind of want to reconcile. And I mean, it really did happen to me because back in 2009, I was laid off. And at that point, I felt like it was like God was really tugging on my heart to move into hospitality. I was an engineer. And of course, I'm super worried at this point because there's such a big difference in money piece of it. And I think it took me another 3 years before I actually did the transition. And even after like going to school, it took me almost a year to actually get a job in hospitality. And I'm saying this and sharing this because it was so much effort to actually transition into a career that I think is more of my purpose and truly my passion. And I also just feel like with this career, it gives me more opportunity to be able to do other things that I do also find interest in. So like I shared earlier, I love fitness and, you know, just kind of helping my friends in their fitness journey. I also partner with a company called Zaire. It's an activewear company. And so I think now I'm kind of at that place where I really do now need to kind of figure out how to manage my life as like my career, my job itself, this new business. I have a 3-year-old, so I can't really get away. I can't even use the bathroom without him coming with me. So I definitely need to take in some of the things that you shared and really try and figure out how to better manage all the things that I have going on right now. But thank you. This was really great.
Thank you, Sade. You know what I think what might be interesting, we have, you know, maybe about 10 minutes remaining. I'd love to open it up to anybody who has maybe done what Alicia has walked through or what Sade was sharing of that recreating your life. And maybe you're in the middle of that where it's a little rocky and the path isn't quite so clear, but maybe you're on the other side of it and seeing it for the blessing. You know, we had heard at the beginning of the call, you know, those changes aren't always easy and we're sometimes piecing those pieces together, but maybe somebody who has walked through it can share how valuable it is, or maybe somebody in the middle of it can share what they need to hear to keep walking forward, to pursue that passion and that thing that is your purpose.
I can share. I actually worked in retail for 20 years. And I started with a new company. I was in management. And I started with a new company. I was there for about a year before I got transferred into another location with another female manager who was younger than me and very threatened by me. She did everything in her power to try and make me look bad instead of uplifting, which is something I've always been believed in, is uplifting women. But after being with her for about a year and a half, she got me fired and I was completely lost. We had moved up to Sacramento from the Bay Area to start, you know, to be in a better living situation. I uplifted my family and everything to come up here. And I was like, what am I going to do? How am I going to make this work? And having small children, it actually affected my kids because my youngest didn't like that I was working so much in retail and felt that I wasn't there for him. So I took the 6 months off of unemployment and kind of regrouped and thought about, you know, it had crushed me and where I was and where I wanted to be. I dabbled in network marketing a little bit, which I still do with the company that I started way back then. And then I got a job in being a rep where I could work from home and be around for my children more. I did that for about 2 years. And then the position with Airmark, which was hospitality, fell in my lap. a position that I would have never in a million years applied for or thought I was qualified for. But a friend talked me into it and said, you would be great. And it's actually been the best move and the best decision that I've made. I have the flexibility to work from home. You can hear my kids in the background because of homeschooling. But I have the flexibility to work from home when I need to, or leave the office so I can be there for my kids. And doing the development and growth and going into more of a senior leadership role, it's just been a really great experience for me. And even though I was afraid 3 years ago and not sure if I could ever do this, I'm really glad that I did make the choice and make the move.
Looking back on it, did it require any certain shift in your mind to sort of see it that way? Or do you feel like just walking through it, the hindsight is what's giving you that perspective?
It took a huge mind shift. Excuse me, Nolan, I'm on a call, please. I'm not done looking at it. I'm sorry. It took a huge shift because I went through a whole depression and I'm not good enough, and maybe my management style or maybe the way that I do things isn't the right way. And I'll be honest, it was like, maybe I shouldn't be trying to uplift women and help them, and, because it's gotten me to where I am. But then it just, I don't know, it took a lot of changing to get through. And it hasn't been until like most recently, honestly, I'd probably say this year, that I've really been able to look back and make the changes of things, not just in my professional career, but also in my professional, like I've been reading the book Codependent No More and realizing that it's okay to do things for yourself. And, it's okay to take the personal time, even though I don't do it yet, but the self-care, it's pretty much been this year that I've really come to grasp with everything and understood it more. So it's been a challenge.
So happy you're on the other side and seeing it through a different lens, a different perspective.
Thank you. It's great too. And it's helping a lot with talking with younger women who are getting into management and telling them and letting them know it's okay. It's okay to put your kids first. It's okay to take time for yourself. It's, just letting them know that what they're going through is normal.
I love that. And one of the things that I kept seeing pop up in the chat is it doesn't matter. I think we've all been on calls talking about self-care, that ability to sort of hear your inner voice about what you need and advocate for that the same way you would advocate for a loved one, right? It doesn't seem to matter how many times we hear that. Hearing it again is often what we need, right? We need to hear it one more time for us to really feel entitled to take that. So I love that that was a part of what you presented today, Alicia. I don't think, at least the women I know, can't hear it enough. So thank you for incorporating that. Any other thoughts from anybody who's on the path or has come out the other side and is looking back and saying it's worth it, keep walking?
I was just going to share, when we closed down our business, I was busy building a brand for ourselves, and we were doing strategic plans and for small and medium-sized businesses. It was growing. My business partner and I, everything. I was doing what I loved in the speaking side of things and so forth. And part of that was ego, because we're building our own brand. We're going to build this business to whatever. And then my business partner decided she really needed to do something else, and we closed that down, which actually was kind of a relief to me. That all worked fine. But then what I stepped into, something that some of you have heard me say that I was doing, I only did it because my ego could take carrying that business card. I really wasn't ready to look at everything the company I'm with has to offer. I only looked at a little piece of it, and that was ego driven. And it took me 2 years to finally say, wait a minute, you're really looking at this wrong. And there's so much more there for you, which is what I get to do now. But I got to tell you, ego could really play a real big part in decisions when it's really a waste.
I was just typing and at the same time in the chat box that I resonate with that. My ego is learning some very valuable lessons about taking the back seat and really showing up for others first, and how that is definitely how I see success, but also just joy. So I love that. Any comment on the ego is like, it sends my brain into a little whirl. Like, yeah, I'm focusing on that too. So. Well, if nobody else wants to comment, we can get off a little bit earlier. Oh,
I was
yeah.
going to say one more. All right, I'm going to do it. I don't know if some of you read my story yet on the Empower, but it's kind of similar. But when the economy crashed, and this isn't like a person or I showed up for work and I was fired, but we had our own businesses. So we actually had to close our law office because my mom got a brain tumor. So we closed that down, and I had a baby, my second daughter. So we opened up a daycare business. Yeah, I went from legal to a daycare, but so I could be home with my kids and homeschool for 8 years. But when that economy crashed, we almost lost everything. My husband's a painting contractor, and I was losing daycare kids. So it kind of went from losing one business, going to another business, which was 8 years. Then the economy crashed that. I'm going to lose that one. Then I was like, now what am I going to do? So I, being shy and talking to daycare kids 60 hours a week, that was all I knew, and I was totally humbled with that. I did not get out and network the way I'm networking now. So all of the fruits that were inside me had to come out, and I used them for my purpose, like Alicia was talking about. And thanks to my faith, he closes one door and opens another. So I ended up becoming a marketing rep for an online shopping club. It's been around 35 years. So I've been with them 21 years building since the economy crashed. I was able to close my daycare down within 10 months. And then now I am like leading hundreds of women and doing big, giant public speaking things. And you would have never thought, even my mom would tell you to this day, you were so shy, you hid behind my legs when you were little. So just looking at of how, like Alicia was saying, you never know what's going to happen. But having with my faith, it's like another door always opens, and you run with it and you step into that new season. Like what Jennifer was saying, she's in a new season, but it always works out. It always does. So that's my share.
I could not imagine a more perfect way to end this call than with that share. So thank you so much, Alicia, for sharing. Thank you, everybody, for jumping on today. This is awesome. Love seeing all these faces, all these names that we're getting to know month after month. So please join us again, third Wednesday in October. And I think we're on probably Zoom unless we hear differently. Otherwise, we will all be together in person, which would be delightful. But until then, we'll meet again on Zoom, third Wednesday at noon. Look for the posting in the Empower Hour page and make today as amazing as you can.
Thank you, Laura.
Of course, talk to you guys soon. Okay, bye.